Hello, and welcome to The Art Will Not Be Changing. Okay, a little bit more subtle this time, no pirate accent. Again, every week, you don't know how I'm going to do it. If there's anything you're tuning in for, it should be that. How is he going to do the opening sequence and the glasses thing? That's what you want to know. I know it's what you want to know. If I look a little white and powdery, and if I miss something, no, it was not flashback to Wall Street in the 80s day. Now, I had Zeppeli at the fair. It's white sugar powder all over me. I swear. I know I seem very energetic, but I'm a fat guy. It's not drugs. It's Zeppeli. If you want to know what I'm addicted to, it's Zeppeli. I am Christian Joseph De Matteo, co-founder of Fugitive Poems. And you're going to have a great time tonight. We got some really cool guests. We got some great stuff happening. I am very, very excited to talk about. We have already had, in like 3 minutes, a spanning discussion back in the green room. Mark loves when I say that. I'm hoping stuff comes back up that came up. I can't wait to find out what happens next. I'm hoping that maybe someone will bring me more Zeppeli. I don't know if anybody heard that. But while you're waiting for people to bring me more Zeppeli on the show, remember that Containment Breach Volume 4, Monsters, Beasts, and Bastards, is in print. Again, it's being printed as we speak. So if you go during the show to fugitivepoems.com and you order this 192-page, absolutely bad shit collection of killer washing machines, Nazi werewolves, and aliens from all kinds of different worlds and were-coyotes, you will have an amazing time. And I will send you a Fugitive Poem sticker absolutely free with your book and a parental advisory explicit content sticker. So this could happen. This could be you. Maybe you're like, I kind of like mythology more. Well, we have the Myth Reborn Containment Breach series, another incredible collection full of all the stories you could ever possibly imagine about mythology happening in ways you would never even have thought of. Well, you know what? I kind of like science fiction. Containment Breach Volume 3 of Clouds and Ether, full of more stuff. I keep telling you, these are amazing. And you could have all three of these. You could have all three. In fact, if you order all three of these, I'll send you 3 huge reviews, Flat Blast from the Past, Fugitive Poem stickers, and I'll draw something on your package. Take that however you want. I'm down for whatever. Let's get this done. We got some people in the chat. We got Mark right off the bat calling me a yutz. And my friend Tom Linen agreeing. People are out to get me. Zeppeli. Fangul. Thank you, Evan. It's tan. The green room is tan. Well, let me tell you what we're going to do now. Without any further ado, we're going to bring on 2 really, really cool guests. I have been following one of them for a couple of years, and I have been friends with another one for a couple of years on the Comic Jam Discord, and they have found each other, and today they have found their way here. Please let me introduce Seth Singleton. Welcome to the show.
Hey, buddy. Good to be here.
Even you. Oh, I was trying to get it as you were drinking just to make it really awkward, but you were too fast for me. Welcome, folks. How are we? How we doing?
I'm all right. I'm glad to be here, man. This is awesome.
I'm so glad to have you here. So you guys have a really cool comic project out. We're going to, in fact, so that people can order while listening, let's get the Kickstarter in the chat right now. Boom. There we go. Folks, the Kickstarter is in the chat. The project is Joan, Volume 3. It is the story of a resurrected Joan of Arc. I'm not going to tell it because these guys will do it better. I don't want to give away too much, but I'm just going to throw out resurrected. Imagine you were burned at the stake. How would you feel and what would you maybe want to do next if you had another chance? Yeah, that's where the sucker goes, but in even more wild ways than you can imagine. The Containment Breach trilogy make a great Father's Day present. Just saying, Evan says. That's an excellent point. He also said, Stephen, hello. Look, remember, you're about to watch something incredible. Subscribe to this channel. Ring that bell for notifications. Like the episode. Send me money. Just all the things. All right, so right before, I'm going to jump right in. Right before Joan, Stephen, you were working on another project. What was that?
Right before Joan, I actually was freelancing in LA for a while. And I'm grateful for all the projects that I had, but I gotta admit, it got to a point where I'm like, what am I really doing with my life as an artist? And I don't know. I feel like when you're younger and people tell you, oh, you can make money off of, your art. What they're not telling you is that make sure it fits in with what you really want to do with your life. People come at it from like the point of view of like, well, just make money off of it. And that's kind of like just they add a period to it and then there's no explanation of like, well, what else happens? For me, I felt like screaming. I felt like hitting a wall all the time, like just punching a hole through walls all the time. Because I'm like, what the fuck am I doing with my career? And then I would be doing conventions and I'm listening to people going, oh, you should do this thing. It's trending right now. And maybe I'm weird. Maybe my wife always says, I think you're European, honey. And maybe that's how my brain works. But I was just like, I couldn't. Basically, what had happened, I think that the final thing that like broke me was had a couple of things happen. I had submitted a application to be an apprentice at like the Art Directors Guild, and I remember I worked really hard putting this portfolio together, and I had asked friends to like write me a recommendation. I was getting ready. I had done a whole bunch of storyboarding. I was like, okay, like maybe this is like way in. No, it was like it was not good enough, and you get like enough rejections before you kind of go crazy. Like some people go like, I just bounced it off my shoulders. But yeah, I did that. But like, you still can't help it because you're like, I'm still doing what you want me to do, and I'm still not good enough. Like, what the hell's going on? And I was like, that's it. I got to make my own thing. And I was kind of on and off with this project for a while. It was like 2 nights having a duel, and I was like, maybe I'll be like a Ridley Scott, where I could be like an art director who is like, can also direct and tell stories. I was like, maybe I could do that, make a short film out of it. And one night I was like trying to explain this concept to a friend, and I was like, okay, a knight pulls out a sword, and then the other knight pulls out he pulls out an M16 and just lights this motherfucker on fire. And I remember my friend laughing and became this like joke. And I remember like kind of like that Eastman and Laird thing with Ninja Turtles where it's just like riffing the whole entire night. And I remember calling a friend, rest in peace, my really great friend Dennis Rule. Excellent, by the way, check him out. He's excellent. He was an excellent stuntman, actor, and filmmaker. He made a movie called Unlucky Stars. He's a martial arts film director. Check him out. Anyway, Dennis Rule said, and this guy that pulls out the M16, what if it's not a guy? What if it's Joan of Arc? And I remember just laughing hysterically. I'm like, yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. It's going to be grindhouse. It's going to be pulpy. I'm going to call upon like, old 70s, like retro 70s grindhouse action meets like Hong Kong action movies, meets like Tarantino, meets Robert Rodriguez. I was like, let's just put all of it together. and into a comic instead of a film. So, but then it was kind of on and off, and then what happened was my dad passed away in 2018, and then 2020 COVID happens, and I'm like, yeah, bye LA, I'm done. I am done listening to what people are telling me to do, and it's time to just put everything into this comic, put my heart and soul into it. So that's the origin.
Holy cow. What a powerhouse of a story. It's just roiling in your brain.
Yeah.
Turning over and over like on a rough sea. And it just keeps coming back and back and back until you had that great independent artist moment. Fuck it, I'll do it myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you did it. Oh, that's so cool. And you're speaking my language here. I mean, Fugitive Poems, pulp, grindhouse is what we do. We that 70s sensibility of grindhouse, absolutely. And I love everything that you are combining, and the way it's come together is absolutely amazing. So this brings about Joan, Volume 1. Now, Seth, before you got involved, and we're going to talk more about Joan Volume 1 in a minute. Before you got involved with Joan, what kind of stuff were you writing?
Oh, Seth. Ha. Go ahead, man.
I was, for the most part, I was trying to write about everything I was experiencing. I had been a young athlete who thought I was going to be a professional soccer player, blew my ACL at 17, and found myself going, okay, so the body's breaking down. Let's start paying more, attention to what the brain's going to do as the body. Year after year, I would have another surgery, and this whole soccer thing was looking really far away. And I had grown up enamored with things like King Arthur, with stories of kind of the lawlessness of the Middle Ages, of the medieval times, this kind of wild time where suddenly reason had disappeared and artifacts and relics held power, and magic and possibility. So I was captivated by stories like that. I came across different versions of those characters, and then I caught myself trying to, tell stories that gave the same feeling and spirit. And it was really interesting hearing Steve's story about the Directors Guild, because I'm reminded that in the writing community, one of the big mountains to say that you hit and maybe even got the chance to summit is the Iowa Writers Workshop based in Iowa. And I applied to that one year and took what I felt was my biggest swing. And I got a letter back saying, you just missed the list, but we want you to know that you missed it out of 986 other applicants. And I'm like, I don't know if that makes me feel better. I don't know. Like, I remember sharing that with, I saved the letter because it was such the strangest way to receive a rejection. Like, it was trying to tell me that I was good. I just wasn't good enough this time around. And I'm like, well, I hate to break it to you, but as far as life goes, I only get this time around. If I'm not good enough this time around, like, what happens? So I had gone into that pursuit because I had started out probably my sophomore year in high school after going to a private school where my mom had taught and coming back to Tracy High where I had grown up. I came in as a sophomore and started working for the local newspaper. And by the end of my junior year, I was hired by my local newspaper to be an intern for my senior year. So I had gone into journalism and I was really disillusioned. I was like, these people get paid to write. They went to Greece to get this. They seem miserable. They seem just downtrodden. Like, journalism in 1996, 97 was already facing a lot of challenges, and it just didn't look very promising. And it didn't inspire me the way Creative Works did. So I was trying to write about what a hero looks like in the present day. And I was constantly trying to wrap my mind around how can you take the concepts of heroism and chivalry and honor and things like that in the present day. And I wrote stories about that. I tried to look at it in sports, in life, and I found that that's what I was drawn to for a very long time. And then, interestingly, I finally read through Joseph Campbell's Hero with a Thousand Faces, and I realized that the whole, and for anybody who has not read that book yet, this is the spoiler thing, so just cover your ears for a minute and, whatever. But my takeaway was the hero part is just one version of the story. That the whole concept behind the book is that you get to be every character in the story that you might meet as a hero, but you later get to become at other points in that story. We all start out as a child, but at some point we get to grow up and become a parent, an uncle, a mentor, someone who's further down the road than others, and what role we offer to those who are going through their hero's journey. That was this takeaway of understanding I grasped. And from there, what I really wanted to do was try and tell a story in which all those characters felt as powerful as the stories that had inspired me when I used to just lose time reading and imagining these magical worlds that took me away.
All right, folks. I got. I'm like flabbergasted here between the two of you. Mark said, "Hey, nerds and nerdettes, be sure to like, subscribe, and bitch slap that bell icon if you want more independent comic-y goodness." And I had to point that out right now because I want to point out, if you just heard what Seth just said, if you heard what Steven just said, this is independent comic talk. It's not. I made another cool cape guy. You know, it's not. I've got a cool guy shooting people. It's so much deeper than that. The thought that goes into it. I'm listening to Seth talk about. First of all, you're hitting both of you medieval material, chivalry, and specifically the King Arthur mythos, all the way from the Mabinogion on to now, is an obsession of mine and has been since I was in high school. I love it. This idea, and I love the samurai as well. And the idea that both, to take the knights and the samurai, they both have this romantic code associated with them, right? And then maybe in reality that wasn't quite connected. Maybe it was true for some, maybe it wasn't true at all. And now the history starts confusing with what we want it to be. And really the King Arthur story is a dream that the peasants had, right? That there'd be a king whose knights wouldn't randomly rape their daughters in fields because they had some kind of fucking honor, right? Wouldn't it be great? You think about Terry Gilliam backstage, I think about Monty Python. You know, how do you know he's a king? They had shit all over him, right? The Holy Grail. This idea that they could do anything that they wanted. And what if we didn't? What if we had a king with honor? What if we had knights with honor? And these are questions that still haunt us today when we think about a group of people or a kind of people. And, well, what would the ideal be? And then who, and to go into what Seth talked about, who am I in this? What is my code? I mean, is that an old-fashioned thing to think about? I don't think so. To have a code. And what would that look like in action? Because it's one thing to say, oh, well, let me tell you the kind of guy I am. It's another to stay with it when it happens. And the reason I bring all this up is that all that shit just got put in my head from listening to the two of you. And we're talking indie comics. We're talking a graphic novel series about Joan of Arc. And we're talking already, we're getting deep into what the concepts are behind this. And with Steven also talking about the compulsion, that artistic need that some of us have to create, no matter how buffeted around we are being by the winds of fate, and pushing through. But that challenges us to think about who we are with that. Folks, these are the people behind Volume 3 of Joan. So you already know that you're going to get pulp action, violence, grindhouse, but it's all coming with this foundation of concept, of philosophy. And I am awed already that we've this quickly gotten into this. Evan said, you are Smarticus and Thinky. Yes, you guys are. He talked about us streamlining for your journey to the stars. That's a little joke that Evan and I have. By the way, the Containment Breach trilogy is the perfect gift for the questionable dad. All right. So, Seth, we see what your passions are. Steven, you decide I'm doing this. I am telling this Joan of Arc story. And you put Volume 1 together. Folks, again, in the chat is the link to, and by the way, it's not live yet. It's not live yet. You want to jump on here and you want to hit notify me on launch because you want to know the second this thing comes out. We want this thing to hit its goal immediately. Why? Because you want it. That's why. So, Stephen, volume 1 of Joan. What is the? You do it. You decide to make it happen. What does it look like? What does it turn into?
Yeah. It's complete. I describe it as punk rock. I've never really identified with the punk rock scene because I actually didn't know anything about it. Oh, there you go, Seth. Hell yeah, dude. Thank you. To me, it was. To me, it was. You know, punk rock was always jean vest and spiky hair, and it took copious amounts of watching Nicolas Cage talk about his career. And I remember there's a God, what the hell is that guy's name? Logan? Something Logan. But anyway, it's right after Wild at Heart, and Nick Cage gets on the show, and he does I swear it's like a dream. It's like I'm explaining a dream. He comes out in full leather gear, does a front handspring, proceeds to throw a couple kicks, karate kicks in the air, tosses money into the crowd, and then throws another kick in the air, gets in the karate stance, and goes, yeah! And I was like, what the hell was that? That's amazing. I remember later on in
Powdered sugar.
Oh yeah, powdered sugar for sure. Powdered sugar for sure. And it was later on he said that his career he wanted to be punk rock. He wanted to come out, with that energy. And I was like, that's what Volume 1 was to me. It was I am so angsty. I mean, there's hours of conversations with Seth where I'm just yelling, about things. And I was like, I need to channel this better. And if it's there's no way I can sustain yelling like this for like hours. I mean, maybe a good like 5 minutes, but you start seeing stars afterwards. So I was like, I need to channel this energy, and especially it was during COVID too. And I was like, so Volume 1, I finished the first section of Volume 1, and I thought it was good enough. And I published it on Comixology, and I was pretty surprised. I was like, oh, I got into Comixology, great. But then I was like, no, I need to redo this, and I have more to add to the first book. So my whole career, by the way, doesn't make any sense at all. It's just a bunch of like vibes, and that's good enough. That's the guiding light. So I took the book off Comixology, decide I'm gonna start doing conventions. This is around like we're now like 2021, and I was like, I just want to finish the first book. So 2022 happens, and there was CarrierCon in Alameda, and it was like their first convention after COVID. And I was like, okay, and this is back when I was living in California, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna print these books, and I don't give a fuck if nobody buys this. Like that's always my attitude. Like some people are like, I want to make millions. I'm like, I don't really care. I just want this thing screaming at everyone. And that's the energy. Like if you read the first book, there's so many inconsistencies. Like I was telling Seth, I was like, oh, I should touch this up. And after talking to Seth yesterday, I was like, no, I'm gonna keep this integrity of this like
punk
this
rock.
insanity. Yeah, it's punk rock. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we don't always know how to play our instruments.
Right.
And let's keep
Right, yeah.
in mind, like for all of us and everybody listening, you can just nod and agree, or you can chime in the chat, whatever. But tell me you don't recall things in the way that you best remember them for the efficiency and effectiveness of the story. As I've heard it mentioned, whether it was stolen from Ted Lasso or others, truth ruins a good story. Why ruin a good story with the truth? Why not
Mark
add in?
Twain.
And there's the elements, right? Then there's the elements of what we remember. So there's some pieces in there where it's like, hey, if she's telling this story or if somebody else is telling this story, they're going to be like, hey, who's telling this story? Okay, knock it off. So with that in mind.
Which of you can give me a 1-2 sentence summary of the true story of Joan of Arc for the audience? The true story of Joan of Arc. True story, right? Because what is really true? So what's the story that we traditionally know about Joan of Arc?
So I wrote it in the first book. I said, okay, so we all know the history, which is she claimed she had visions from God that she would be the one that would save France from the tyranny of the English. And then come to find out, she was betrayed. Once she got the Dauphin his throne back, she ended up being betrayed by him. And then what followed after was that she was sold. Well, she was captured by the French Burgundians, these like lords, these like political lords who aligned with these French lords that aligned with the English, and then they sold her to the English, and there begins the trial, that she was a witch, and then and then they burn her at the stake, through this insane mockery of what's called justice, and years later the church basically just apologized and created and made her into a saint. So that's
Right.
kind of the short history.
Well, Stephen, you were so close, but the truth is, she was a dancer at the Zebra Lounge. So you almost had the story.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I was thinking of Janie Dark.
Okay, I was going to say that's recent history for somebody listening. We're talking about history prior to that recent history. And let's be honest, whoever that was who chimed in, is that really her name, or is that just what she told you? I mean, no offense. I'm sure you're a great person, but did she really think she was Joan of Arc, or she was like, he'll buy it if I say I'm Joan of Arc? And then
That's right.
So, quick question.
Audio says, finally made it. Haunted artist and punk rock. Damn, I missed a lot. Mark said, so many dollars lost, like tears in the rain.
Nice.
So
Yep.
we got the story of Joan of Arc. Very famous. Not Noah's wife. I know a lot of you out there thought that.
Yeah.
But we now know. What, Stephen, do you do to Joan in your world?
Okay. So I take that history and then I put an alternate spin to it. So now what we're dealing with is an alternate 1430s medieval France, medieval Europe. Okay. And this is a Europe right now that is completely oppressive. It's not a place where anyone wants to be. Everyone is living under the thumb of King Henry and King Henry, not like a lineage of King Henry's, and his legion of evil sorcerers, and their policy known as One Thought. In a very Orwellian way of explaining this, One Thought is if you do not align your thoughts, your feelings, everything with the king, you're subject to being killed. And there are no heroes left. I mean, mortal heroes are like gone. They're either killed, banished somewhere else, or they're running away because this guy is terrifying. He's terrifying because of his self-righteousness. That's the thing that's most terrifying. It's not just that he has the sword of Excalibur, which he's completely corrupted. He has an army at his disposal, like an army of knights, and then these like Burgundian sorcerers. So there's really nobody to fight him. It's really tough. He's a tough motherfucker to fight. So God resurrects Joan of Arc, gives her immortality and infinite ammunition to dismantle the monarchy.
Now, folks, I want to be clear. When
guy.
Stephen says infinite ammunition, he's not being metaphorical.
No.
No. She actually has modern era weaponry.
Yeah. And I just want to say too, I was actually at a convention talking to somebody about this, and they had asked, "Oh, is it like magic?" And I go, "Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Look at her modern weapons as another form of magic, and it's all tied to Merlin. Actually, Merlin is kind of big in this story too, as well. At least his like legacy, but the weapons that she wields is so important because what she's up against, yeah, and that pinup is by Joseph Cison. He's fucking amazing. But the weapons that she has is very, very necessary because when you read the first volume and you read the second volume, you will see the Burgundian sorcerers and King Henry are very tough to beat. It's not an easy linear revenge story. In fact, you will find out that as later books come out, well, actually with the third book coming out, you'll find out that the revenge that she's here for is not really the real mission she's on. And as we explore more of her mission, you'll see that she was sent here for another reason that she's not discovered yet.
Like the Blues Brothers, she's on a mission from Gad.
Yeah, that's right.
Claudio wants to say, he says, is King Henry actually Thanos? Mark says, I love this story, by the way. And Seth, to your point earlier, he said, good point, well made, sir. LOL. And then they run into each other in a mosh pit, was Evan's next question. Stephen, what's your historical background, knowledge-wise? Like, what do you did you study history, or is this just a deep dive because you love this idea?
No, I actually in my 20s I was studying a lot of existentialist philosophies, and that's actually what Joan is, as I'm trying to make her the existential hero. So in this book, God isn't like the supernatural. At one point in a draft, God, the devil, it was all like part of it. And actually, it was funny. Even had like it was a doomsday scenario where the Antichrist was coming back, or coming to Earth. And it was, by the way, all my references are like 80s, 90s blockbusters. So the Antichrist was supposed to be Christopher Walken from True Romance, Vincent Cacotti, right? He says, "I'm the what was that? I'm the Antichrist. I'm the Antichrist." Anyway,
but son, fuck that he is.
Yeah. So I had Chris Walken as the Antichrist. Anyway, the Antichrist would come back, and it was getting beyond really what I was trying to say. And then so I took all that out, and I was like, what is it like for this version of Joan of Arc with no God, no spirituality, nothing? Like it's all kind of in the background, and it's by design, by the way. I mean, the backstory would be, well, I don't want to spoil it, but there is something there where this time around she needs to find out for herself what her true purpose is, and to me, that kind of existentialist struggle is really important because that's what I've been dealing with as an artist. It's like, what the fuck am I here to do? Am I here to draw Wolverine for the rest of my life? Am I going to draw Captain America? Do I have to draw like Star Wars to be like popular at conventions? What do I do? And this is the angst like growing, right? And I can see Seth going, okay, buddy, you can vent about it. You don't have to relive it. That's the mantra of Seth. But I mean, seriously, it like drives me up the wall because I'm like, what do I need to do to like make something and be happy about it? And you know, I've listened to almost all the advice that's out there, and there were so many people telling me what I need to do, and then I just realized maybe what you need to do is just tell everyone to shut the fuck up and listen to yourself, and maybe that's what it is. And this is what Joan's struggle is. Joan's struggle is corrupt holy men and evil monarchs telling her what to do. And this time around, she doesn't have that. So what do you do? How do you go about things? How do you do things the right way? Right? How do you be a good guy when you have no one rooting for you, nothing, and you're on your own? So I wasn't necessarily a fan of history, but I was definitely a fan of that specific philosophy.
That is what an interesting idea. Having to self-define as a monstrous task to find your own ethics amidst the cacophony of disagreeing concepts. Oh wow. Mark says, be sure to like, subscribe, and bitch slap the bell icon if you want more independent comic-y goodness. Folks, this is the kind of stuff we do. We either tell non-stop vulgar jokes on this show, or we get deep as fuck. Either way, this is what you're getting. All right, so you did volumes 1 and 2 on your own. You wrote and drew and lettered and bled and all that on it.
Yeah.
And then Seth.
Yes.
How do you, Seth, get involved? Where do you did you appear through the fog on a dark night of the soul for Stephen, and you stepped through the fog and appeared? How did
I
this
actually
happen?
appeared on the Carrier Con during Carrier Con the following year after he had done Joan Volume 1, right? And he's coming around with Joan Volume 2. And I'm there because a nephew of mine is attending and tells me about it. And I think I'm going to meet up with him. And while I'm there, I run into his friend Nick, and they're side by side. Nick Pino is sharing his table is right next to Steve's. Steve's art caught my eye, but then I saw Nick and I'm like, well, let me stop at the first table, say hello to Nick, and then I'll go over. And while I'm talking with him, he was like, yeah, you should go over and meet my friend Steve. I was like, yeah, his art's totally catching my eye. I'm going to, stop over there next. So I stop in with Steve. We start talking about Joan. I ask if he would like to get together on a video call and chat, that I do podcasting, but we can talk about collaborating. And then when we do hop on the call, I was like, hey, look, I'm just going to take a swing here and talk to you about some ideas I've been working on and let you know that this is the kind of thing that I do. And once I did, he was intrigued by the concepts. He liked some of the stories. Some of them didn't fit for what he was trying to do. But I feel like by making the overture, I was also able to say, like, you seem like a good person. I'm willing to trust you. And I think that extension made it easy for Steve to turn around and go, oh, huh. Well, if you're willing to trust people, you probably are somebody who I can trust. Let's test the waters. And we started having some conversations about, like, hey, I bought Joan 1 and 2. I went in all the way and was really excited to read them and enjoy them. And once I told him what I enjoyed and why, then he was like, well, okay, you've given me 2 potential signs here. Let's see what you're worth. And he started talking to me about what he was doing with Volume 3. And that was a series of conversations where my only real job, as I saw it, was to listen to another artist who was talking about their passion, share my experiences on projects that I was passionate about, projects I wasn't passionate about, and also say, hey, have you considered this? Is this an option for you? What direction do you want to go if you had choices? And mostly point out where, hey, you might see yourself in one position, but if I can give you a different perspective, that might open up avenues for you to consider. And then through that, you can tell the story you want to do. I'm just pointing out avenues you might not have seen prior to. You familiar with the movie with Richard Gere, The Mothman Prophecy?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to have a
Got it
little
right
fun
on the
here.
shelf over there.
You remember the part where he goes and speaks with someone and they say, well, let's talk about the idea of a window washer up so many heights. There's an accident down on the street. Now you're in the car on the street. For you, there's only one perspective. Now the window washer, he can see blocks up ahead and he can tell you, yeah, there's been an accident up ahead. You're probably going to want to take a side street or you're going to be stuck on that road for a long time. Now, is that person washing windows God, or they just have a different perspective? Now, I never put the God question in. What I say is, how can I have a different perspective? And how can I use that perspective to say, have you considered this? And is it worth your time and effort? And through that, my job was to facilitate. If you want to get somewhere, how can I help you get there? And by continuing to offer that up, Steve was able to work with me and see from me that I might have the potential to step in. Maybe someone he could hand the baton to, especially if it would be helpful for him just to work on the art side, knowing that someone else could help carry the load when it came to the story. How'd I do, Steve? Pretty good setup there?
That was awesome.
All right, wait. Let me tell you what I got out of this.
Yeah.
Stephen was working his way through an existential forest of questions, and you snuck in and convinced him you were God. Is that did I get that right? Is that what I just got?
I mean,
No. It feels more like Dante's Inferno, and Virgil appears. So yeah.
Did you know, Stephen, that you wanted someone else on this project until this happened, or were you just assuming that it was going to be you and Joan the whole time?
It originally was looking like that, and I had a couple of false starts with collaborators, and a bunch of things that didn't work out. There was even like an option deal that kind of was in the works, but it wasn't working out. And ultimately, why I went to Seth was because, number one, it's tough to do all of this on my own. But number two, isn't it great when you get to collaborate with people, especially when they're your buddies, and there's like a trust, and then there's like this back and forth, right? And it's just like I don't know, there's something about it, and it, like, um, you know, I've had situations before where it's very much a contract job, right? It's like, hey, do this thing, okay, cool.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like a carpenter, right? But with Seth, it's like it sounds like this, right? It's like, hey, man. Seth is like, how are you doing? And I'm like, you know what? Fuck this, dude. I'm, you know, at this convention right now, and I'm fucking like blowing up my fucking like mind thinking about this fucking bullshit. And he's like, okay, well, let's talk about it. And then all of a sudden, it's like an hour later, you're like, oh, why was I worked up about that? We actually figured that out. You know, and that's kind of like what friends do, right? It's just
Yeah.
like we're here for each other, and then on top of that, we have like the creative stuff going on. So I don't know.
Oh.
I just that's like a huge thing.
All right, Steven, that's so fucking cool. So we've just found out how you guys met, how you got together on Joan, and what you just said now is it's great to have a friend, and it's really cool when you're working on something together. So the dynamic entirely flipped. You know, Seth came as possible collaborator, and now you guys have this friendship. And, you know, James and I started Fugitive Poems. We worked together. I knew him. I liked him, but I didn't know him that well. But he was an artist and I was a writer, and the need fit. His style was perfect. And we have since become just incredibly close, incredible friends. And my buddy Mark, who's in the comments here telling everyone to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. My best friend, my brother since 4th grade. And now here I am working with my brothers, and we're making shit. We're making art, but we're also hanging. And, you know, so much of what you just said rang true to me being a contractor. You just, people want me to write something. I write something, right? But when you got to put your passion into it, and when you can combine that, when you can combine that with your loved ones, being with people whose company you actually want and need and thrive on, this is beautiful that you guys found this out. So now this happens, and Seth comes in for volume 3. Seth, what are you bringing to the table for volume 3? What do you see as your contribution here? The thing that you and Steven came together on that might not have happened if you two hadn't met.
Well, I mean, I think some of the things that I did was point out what Steve was already doing and then suggest, hey, we have an opportunity here for an avenue to tell that bigger story. And what really stuck out to me the most was that what we really like, I looked at volume 1 and 2, and when we were talking about volume 3, and it was like, you know, Joan is someone who is experiencing the after effects of a trauma. Unlike most people who die, that's it. The trauma occurs, done. She has a traumatic experience and then she comes back from it. So her PTSD version is like unlike most people, right? And what we see in volume 1 is that she is angry. And even through volume 2, that anger is just so constant, because what would you do if you had an opportunity to come back right after? And this is relatively short time period in her mind from when she died to when she returns. And as far as this timeline is concerned, not much time has passed. So things are fresh. The wound is raw. And while initially many of us would be like, yeah, get angry, get loud, get red, you know, do whatever you need to purge that until somebody else feels the pain that they made you feel. But after a while, you know, anybody who's been yelling for a while, even Steve was pointing out, like at some point, your voice gets raw. If you're like me, you start to get that headache because your yelling is so loud that you've created this like cacophony, this echo in your own head where you're like, I think I've caused trauma to my own brain from the extent of the roaring that I've been doing. But also it's exhausting, right? So what happens when you stop getting angry and you start getting through your anger, right? And that's what I brought up with the idea of Joan, is like, what does it take for her to become this big person, this bigger story than just, she thinks she came back to get revenge. And at first she's getting revenge, but then it's like, hey, I'm still here. Oh God, what do you do if you're still here? Like, what is your purpose? Exactly. Anger is exhausting, right?
So the absolute transparent clarity of the parallel between Steven's journey, Steven's anger, and you two meeting each other, and Joan's story of being angry, attacking, and then having to pull back to see the larger picture is incredible. You guys are pulling for such real places for this story, and the relationship you guys have with the story is very much the same as you have with each other. Steven, is this do you ever want to tell Seth to shut up and let me rage?
No. I think Seth gets it. So yeah.
Well, that's the other part that I'm going to share is that I can understand where Steve's anger comes from for the reasons that I understand where my anger comes from. I was not a happy guy when I blew my knee out. I was determined. I played for 6 months without a ligament in my left knee. I eventually got the surgery, but I was only getting the surgery to get back on that field to prove to everybody that this was just a hiccup. I was going to make it back. Then I have 2 more knee surgeries, and by now I'm not really accomplishing it. Now I'm angry at everybody. No one understands me. No one understands what I've been trying to do. Yeah. The thing I was supposed to be amazing at has been taken. I'm dealing with that trauma. So that trauma was something I could automatically draw to Joan. And then the rest of the discovery that I had to go through for myself of you're not what you thought you were. You know, it doesn't mean you failed at who you thought you were supposed to be or any other thing along that line. But it's about understanding who you think you're supposed to be compared to who it is that you're becoming. And that was something I could really recognize with Joan. And it just so happens that just like with the Mothman Prophecy one, I just happen to be a little bit, instead of being up the skyrise, I'm a little bit farther down the road is all. I spent so much time with that anger that I was like, oh, okay. Now between this and some other experiences, like 2 or 3 good years of really great therapy, and a shout out to fucking Nanette, who is just the baddest therapist I've, ever come across. Like, it gives that window, that lens, that recognition to like pull all of that in and say, hey, look, all of these pieces, they're Joan's story, they're your story, they're Steve's story, they're our story. Tell me in your life you have not had an experience where you thought you were going to earn something you worked really hard for and you didn't get it. Just like Steve's story about the Directors Guild, just like mine with the Iowa's Writers Workshop, right? I see you nodding with me, Christian. You know what I mean? Like, we've all faced that disappointment.
I have dealt with absolute rage for the entirety of my teen to adult life. Some of it's genetic, some of it's psychological. And Lord, I finally, a couple of years ago, saw a psychiatrist and found out I had a mood disorder. And he gave me some pills. And I don't need to be angry all the time anymore. It's fucking amazing. I didn't know you could like it. I thought that just was what it was. And I was always looking for who I should be raging at. And sometimes it was clear. I've had asshole bosses, right? Sometimes I couldn't figure out why. This was my big example. You go put something on the table and it slips off and hits the floor. And I would go ballistic. I would start throwing stuff and kids out. I mean, I had rage. So, Stephen, when you were talking, I made a little light of it, but I'm with you. I felt that. And to figure out, there's got to be a reason I feel this way. And the reason must be someone else is doing this to me. And the only way to fix it is to stop them.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing this in this story of Joan. And then here she is. She accomplishes what the mission she thought was.
Yeah.
And there's no... Clarence doesn't get his wings, right? There's there's still shit that has to happen. Maybe it's your dishwashing detergent. I will say, Dave, when I stopped drinking that shit, things got a little bit better. Name that Billy Joel song. Hold on, let's see. Someone said something earlier. Collaborating, my friend Dave from Weymouth. It should be Weymouth, but they don't say things right. Weymouth, Massachusetts. And he says collaborating seems like it's better than paying some guy on Fiverr an arm and a leg. I'd imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mark said 100% at Sillyville, the movie. That's my buddy's comic. Don't ask him how he's getting it drawn. But it might just be a lunatic you're looking for. Yes, the Billy Joel song.
Yes.
This is such a cool concept for a comic because there is so much on offer here. You like your action, you like wild ideas, you like medieval shit, you like modern shit. Would you like to see John Wick shoot knights? Right? Cool. But
you're gonna get it.
All the image that I picked for the show tonight is her reloading her gun, sitting on these steps, or trying to reload it. And I thought to myself, Steven gave me and Seth gave me such badass pictures. She doesn't look badass here. Why is this the one I'm attracted to? And I kept thinking about it. And if let me, why don't I show it while I'm talking here? She looks frustrated. Mm-hmm. She looks troubled. She looks unsure. And she looks pissed about it. Let's see if I can find that particular image. Oh, it's not on this. All right, so I'll grab it. But I was so attracted to that image because there was so much, Steven, there was so much you put in that face.
Yeah.
It magnificent. Absolutely magnificent. Folks, right now, if you look at your screen, you'll see the pre-order page. Gentlemen, when is this going live?
July 1st.
July 1st. July 1st, folks. Joan Volume 3. All right, here's what I'm scared about, though. Here's what I'm scared about. I scroll down. I see the story so far happened in Volume 1 and 2. But we gotta understand that I'm a little obsessive. I'm a little bit of a hoarder. I'm a little compulsive. I can't just buy Volume fucking 3 and not have Volumes 1 and 2. What am I going to do when this Kickstarter comes out? Is there a way to get Volumes 1 and 2?
Mm-hmm. So if you want to talk about it?
Oh, yeah. No, we
I thought that was the whole answer.
So here's a couple of things that we're going to make available. One, you can get your hands on just the physical copy of 3 because you saw Steve and I at a convention and you already got Volumes 1 and 2 and you've been salivating and we understand and we want to satisfy that need. So we're just going to get that book. It's ready to go. However, if you're joining us now and you're like, why would I jump in at 3? Why I need the other 2 parts. We've got a bundle in which you can get Volumes 1, 2, and 3, complete the first parts, have that trilogy in your hands, and you get to sit down and soak up all the glorious story all at once. The people who got 1 and 2, they're going to be a little bit jealous, and you can be okay with that. It's a good thing to have. Let them, experience envy, but you will get to the chance to sit down with that. And if you choose, we're including some packages that offer things like commissions by Steve. Imagine yourself in a Joan style. Imagine your cat drawn in a specific committed style. So there's a couple of things we're looking at.
All right, listen. I got a bunch of friends who are artists. Who do commissions. Be careful how much freedom you're offering people to choose their drawings here. You never know where it's going to go.
We have some limitations. We do have some parameters.
You said something about Joan and my cat. Here's what I'm picturing. No.
Here's actually some of the cat commissions I've been working on.
Oh, look at this. Oh, wow.
And I got another one here, too. And it's not just cats. If you have dogs, another one I worked on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my buddy Evan, I would love to get him one of those for his dog. That's
awesome.
Cool.
Very cool.
All right. And that's part of the campaign as well?
Yeah, I can illustrate in that style. Mm-hmm.
Great. I love it. All right, I gotta show. I can't look at this image without getting lost into thinking about it, thinking about where she's at in this moment without having read it yet. Look at this. Steven, I am blown away, and I could have used anything for the ad. Some where she looks sure of herself, like you're fucked, like she's gonna get you. But there's so much going on in her face here. What is this from? Is this from a
Yeah.
particular moment?
So there's an interesting backstory behind this. So okay, kind of scoot back. I've had people wanting to collaborate with me on Joan, and some people aren't used to how fluid the story structure can be. So there's the main storyline, but if someone wants to collaborate with me, I often tell them you can actually take these characters and retell them in a whole another like story. It's almost kind of like Sergio Leone with the Dollars trilogy, how they're sequels but more spiritual in the sense than they are
Yeah.
literal, right? And you know, uh, Angel Eyes and the Colonel are like played by Lee Van Cleef, but they're two different characters, right?
Yeah.
One was a hero and the other is a villain. So anyway, so I was like, okay. So a lot of people don't understand it, and they're kind of like, wait, what do I do with this? Dave Law, uh, a good buddy of mine and also a really good collaborator too. Dave Law is an excellent comic book artist. He did his own one-page Joan story, and that's actually going to be in Volume 3. So that's a little bonus material too. Anyway, I had this idea for Joan, and if it was a movie, it would be maybe 50 minutes long, and it'd be one giant action sequence. And the idea is this: there is a fort, and it's very maze-like, and Joan gets lost there, and she has her usual arsenal of weapons, but for some strange reason, she only has one pistol, and she cannot have infinite ammo, so she has to reload. So she only has 3 clips. And in this particular scenario, she's like caught in this fort, this maze-like fort, and there's an army of zombies. And so that was one of the ideas I had for a collaborator. It's like, take that, run with it. And they're like, well, what timeline does it belong in the Joan world? It doesn't matter. Run with it. Do something with that. One pistol, 3 clips. What does she do?
Right.
So but I'm also a huge martial arts action film fan. I grew up with like the movies of John Woo, Jackie Chan, Jet Li. I even kind of was like a moonlighted as a stuntman for like a brief period in the early 2000s, and I, competed in kickboxing. So anyway, all that stuff is like always this martial arts experience I've had is always in my comics, and like I think very much as if I was making an action film. I would go, how would this thing be choreographed? That's why when you go through Joan Volume 1 and you look at the fight scenes, I've been told people go like, oh wow, it's like you almost know how punches and kicks line up. And we go, well, yeah, I've been doing it for probably 30 something years now. So in this particular scenario, I was like, yeah, that's what I imagine. It's just this like look of panic and like, time is like of the essence, her survival's of the essence, but it's not like she's out of control. It's almost like she is just frantic, but she knows that when it's gonna happen, she's gonna have to use her fists and her wits just to get the fuck out of this horrendous situation. And also, it highlights what's happening in Volume 3 too. Joan is not her powers actually have limitations, and you're gonna see what happens when it hits his limitations in Volume 3. Oh, we should
Listening.
use that Seth, at conventions.
There we go. Write that down.
Yeah.
Listening to the two of you talk about this project, listening to the two of you talk about your passion for the project and this fucking awesome friendship that you've developed. I'm a sucker for a good friendship. I think it's so important to have friends. I talk to my kids about it all the time. I let them know that they are judged by who they are friends with, that their friends will help lift them up or pull them down, that they have to pick, that this is the family that you get to choose.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. And listening to it to you, you're talking about calling each other up. I made me so happy to hear. And then I look at this picture that I connected with instantly before I knew all this. And I see in it now, I see in her face, I see in her positioning, I see in the art, the culmination, the collaboration between the two of you, of what she is dealing with, of what it means and how she's struggling through it, of what each of you has gone through, and how she is the avatar for that, but also so much more. And this creativity that you guys have poured into this, getting through history, getting all these concepts and philosophies together, it's all emblazoned in this image that tells you this is going to be deeper than your average comic by far. This is going to offer you a lot more. It's going to give you a lot of awesome shit to wow over, but it's also going to give you a lot to think about and consider. Stendhal, I believe, said that art is a mirror walking down the street. And I always is so important to me. You guys have had me thinking this entire time about the idea of how do you know who are you when it's time to define yourself utterly on your own, without all the, what do they call them when you go bowling and they put those things in the gutters so the kids don't lose the balls?
The bumpers?
The bumpers, right? There are no bumpers anymore. Everything's off the table. You know, great, talk about great movies from the 80s. Willow. Love Willow. Forget all you know and all you think you know. Love that line. I've always loved that line, right? What happens if that happens? And now you've got to start from square one and define who you are, why you want to be that, and what is right and wrong. And it comes a point in our lives where hopefully, and I don't think most people do, you got to think, how much am I living based on what I was handed versus what I've experienced, know to be true, have intellectualized, or maybe haven't thought about yet. You know, why am I the following 8 things that I am? And who do I want to be? Is there a choice? What do I have a choice about? You guys got me thinking about all this with this book. I am so excited for this book. The other side of ability and capacity, Evan said. Yeah. This is, I love it. Guys, please get in touch with me when, I'll know because I click notify me on launch. I'll know when it goes live. But let me know if you guys want to come back on. Just from 5 minutes before the show started, I know now that there's about 60 hours of stuff we haven't talked about yet that I want to talk to about you guys about. I just want to have a philosophy roundtable where we also reference cool movies.
I would be more than happy to get down on that. And I'm going to leave you with another tidbit because I just thought about this right now while I was looking at that image that you were showing us. And Steve, tell me if this doesn't connect with you, and Christian, you and anybody else listening, but looking at that image of Joan, tell me that isn't the experience of every creator at some point in a creative pursuit. We all think like we're setting off on the journey with all these tools and we're going to go to this place and we're going to do these things. But at some point, we all find ourselves in this situation. I have only this much. I know that there's more coming. I don't know how much more is coming. I don't know how much I can do. This is what I have. This is what's coming. I have one choice: reload, stand up, let's go. Right. And as soon as I looked at that, I just thought of like, wow, how many other creatives have ever experienced? How many times have you sat down in the middle of some place and gone, okay, let's not even focus on how we got here. This is what we have. This is what we're going to do. Reload. Let's go. Sorry, Steve, you were saying.
No, I was just gonna say, and piggyback off that. That's kind of how I envisioned the whole thing ending. Is this very, very tired but fulfilled hero, where and I don't want to say it's a happy ending or a sad ending, but I will say that this character's quest to find herself and at the same time save people, because that's the duty of a soldier. I don't know. It's that's something that I really want to explore, because I think all artists want that, right? From writers to like artists, we all want that sense of like, at the end of the day, we just want to like look at our work and go, did we do the best we did? Yeah. I actually have a drawing of Joan like just bloodied, caked in dirt, and she just and there's this like little steam that comes out of her mouth, and that's the feeling of the book. It's just relentless action. Yes, there's violence, whatever, but it's just this hero's quest to save people, figure out why she's a hero, why she's doing what she's doing. She's bound by duty, and in the end, just figure her shit out. That's what you're in for.
Yeah, I can
I
feel
think
it.
that might have been our long answer to saying, yeah, Christian, we're down to come back on and talk about all that stuff. I think that was both of us going yes, but in a very long-winded yes.
Yeah.
I feel it. I feel that. And putting together what you two just said. So last night I didn't get as much sleep as I should have. I have been sending. I decided recently, last year, fuck it. I'm just going to send out every short story that comes to my mind. I'm getting published, and I got fucking published. I got two publications. I got two more coming. Yeah, but Thriller Magazine. That's right, motherfuckers. I'm calling you out if you're watching this. Thriller Magazine keeps rejecting. My wife's like, they didn't reject you. They didn't like the story. I'm like, no, they rejected me. It's personal, right? And I'm like, 4 stories in a row. But you know what else Thriller does? They send back commentary, like deep in depth. It's beautiful. They've helped me with certain stories, but the deadline was yesterday, and I knew I had one more day to get another story in. So I wrote another fucking story, and I was up on my front porch, standing out there at night, drinking beer and writing and rewriting and rewriting and rewriting. And I threw the cover letter together and I hit send. And that's what I thought of just now, Stephen, when you talked about that covered in blood. Right. What Seth said, I showed up with everything I got. This is what I have. This is what I know how to do. And I did it. And then, yep, Seth. The journey of the creator. Now, I'm probably going to get another rejection for it, right? How do I know if this one's any better than it? But who the fuck knows? But I still feel this triumph that there was time. Barely, but there was time for one more. And I did it. I fucking batshit mind came up with something. And I'm going to keep doing that because it's all I know how to do. This is what I got. And I'm listening to you guys, and that's how you're making this comic. And I love it. I love the energy, the passion. I love the questioning. I love what you just said, Stephen. Is that something I want to explore more? That's not formula comics, people. That's not formula. Formula needs zero exploration. You know that Superman is going to do X, Y, and Z every time deal with the situation. But no. Stephen and Seth are exploring a character to figure out what might happen. We got a bunch of people. First of all, on Seth ampersand the Stephen. So Evan wants you guys back on. Christian gets deep, Claudia says. You're making me cry. Arc light Joan breath.
Yep.
Dude, you're channeling getting a paper in. Were you channeling getting a paper in on time? That's right. It's what I do to my students. I hadn't thought of that. I got banned for a boner joke. Wait, people can get banned on this?
Interesting.
Whoa.
I'm wondering why you came back under a different name.
Wow.
This is smart. But now I want to know the boner joke. Get banned again. I did not ban you, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are way over time, but this was just too much fun. And the fucking
Christian.
passion. This is what I want. This is what I
buddy.
love. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Seth.
Thank you.
You guys brought passion tonight.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you so
There's
much.
blood on these pages. And maybe some of it's even yours. Hopefully, most of it isn't. But thank you, guys.
We'll never tell.
Don't. Your lawyer will tell you not to.
Right.
Christian is inspired and hulking up, Claudio said.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently. Folks, go to the chat. Right now, you want to click notify me on launch. Notify me on launch. You want to know the minute Joan of Arc or Joan 3 comes out so you can listen to these artists. You think this work is going to be shitty? You think this work is going to be shoddy? Did you hear the passion? Did you see the quality? Did you feel the energy in this? When there's energy like this, it's the stuff Hollywood doesn't have the balls to make. This is the stuff that's just fueling with powdered sugar. No. All right. So
no comment.
Folks, go to fugitivepoems.com, order, and you'll get awesome stuff when you order. We got incredible comics there. Go here and subscribe if you're not subscribed right now. Ring the bell so you don't have to remember when you don't want to all week be sitting there going, God, I hope I don't miss Christian. I hope I don't miss Christian. I hope no, just hit the bell so you get me automatically and get your weekly Christian update. That sounds a lot holier than it's not. Ring the bell and then like the videos, tell your friends, and these guys, these are the conversations we have. Seth, Stephen, thank you. Thank you.
Such a blessing, Christian. Thank you, man. This was truly everything we could hope for and so much more.
Really. I'm glad. Well, we're definitely going to have you back on. Reach out to me. Maybe, you know what? Reach out to me in the next couple of days about midpoint in your when midpoint in your campaign will be, because those are the dead hours, right? The middle of the campaign is brutal. It's the Sahara. We'll have you on. Let's see if we can find a slot for you then.
That'd be fucking rad.
Yeah, thank you.
Folks, look, they're coming baback. Claudio says indie comics rock and soar.
Oh, you better believe it.
Stop threatening our viewers. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am Christian De Matteo, co-founder of Fugitive Poems. We are Fugitive Poems, and we make comics.